Breaking the silence in Search of Louisa, Act 3. Another chair to fill. The stage is almost empty. A long wooden table sits beneath a single lantern. One chair rests at the table. Soft fiddle and cello begin. As each wife is introduced, another chair is quietly carried onto the stage and placed around the table. I have often wondered, how many chairs can a woman's heart make room for? After Joshua died, I found in a book called Mormon Thunder, the biography of Jedediah Morgan Grant, that he wrote a letter to one of his wives after he had found out the news of his brother Joshua's passing. He asked how Louisa was. He mentioned that his health was a little better and that he thought he could take her on as his fifth wife, as well as her 3 small children. Louisa was only 25 years old. 3 little children looked to her for everything. The man she loved was gone. She was a widow. And then another chapter began on February 17, 1854. Louisa married Joshua's older brother, Jedediah Morgan Grant. Jedediah was no ordinary man. He was a gifted orator. He was mayor of Salt Lake City. And within months of their marriage, he would become second counselor to President Brigham Young in the first presidency of the church. He was admired. He was respected. But Louisa was not marrying only Jedediah. She was entering a family already in progress. Another chair was placed at the table. Before Louisa, there had been Caroline Van Dyke, Jedediah's first wife, who had tragically died while crossing the plains in 1847. She was buried, the first woman in the Promised Valley. Then came Susan Fairchild Noble, married February 11th, 1849. On that very same day, Rosetta Robison also became his wife. A few years later, Sarah Ann Thurston joined the family on December 15th, 1853. Then, Louisa, February 17th, 1854. She became Jedediah's 5th wife. I've often wondered, what was that first evening like? Did everyone eat together? Did conversation come easily? Did she wonder where she fit? Did she know any of the other wives since Joshua and Jedediah had been brothers? Or did she cry herself to sleep that first night? History is strangely silent, so I find myself listening. I listen between the lines. For nearly a year and a half, Louisa learned the rhythm of this unusual family. Just when life may have begun to feel a little more familiar, another chair was carried to the table. August 15th, 1855, Marietta Kessler became Jedediah's 6th wife. Another woman with another story, another heart, another chair to fill. How did Louisa feel? Did she welcome her? Did she struggle? Did she pray for strength? Only heaven knows. Then, only 3 months later, another chair. This woman's name was Rachel Ridgway Ivins. Rachel's journey had been different from all the other wives. Years earlier, she had met Jedediah while he was serving as a missionary in New Jersey. She believed the restored gospel, but when she first learned about plural marriage in Nauvoo, it frightened her. She was afraid that she might become one of Joseph Smith's plural wives. So she left. She stayed away from the church for nearly 10 years. She wrestled. She prayed. She searched her own heart, and only after years of soul-searching did she return to Utah. On November 29th, 1855, Rachel became Jedediah's seventh and final wife, after having been sealed to Joseph Smith for eternity. Another woman, another story, another chair to fill. I sometimes close my eyes and imagine that table. 7 women, 7 personalities, different dreams, different childhood hopes, different fears, different experiences that had led them all to sit under this same roof. Different stories and all different experiences with this husband. I wonder, did they laugh together? Did they break bread together? Did they celebrate births together? Or did they quietly ache every time they heard another chair being pulled up to the table? Perhaps that is why this next song touches my heart so deeply, because history remembers marriage dates, but the hearts of those women remember the chairs and the women who sat in them.
Was burning low, the bread was rising slow, children's laughter filled the air like rivers set to flow. One little hand reached up for mine, another called my name. Love was shared in borrowed moments, yet nothing felt the same. There was another chair to fill, another coat to mend, another cradle gently rocked, another hearth to tend. Some days we laughed together, some days we cried alone, learning how to share our story no one had ever known. Was it like to share tomorrow, to share the sunshine, to share the sorrow? Another mother, another child, another dream hidden deep inside. Hidden underneath those skies, I'm not here to judge that journey, only wonder through their eyes. The fiddle sang on Saturday, the banjo kept the time, a harmonica cried softly like an old forgotten rhyme. Children danced across the floor, too young to understand that grown-up hearts were carrying burdens too heavy for their hands. Perhaps there grew deep friendships, perhaps there grew deep pain, perhaps they learned forgiveness like flowers after rain. History remembers numbers, heaven remembers names. Every soul yearned to be treasured, every heart a sacred flame. If I could sit beside them now, no questions would I bring. I'd simply listen quietly to every song they'd sing. Some would tell of happiness, some of serve your ears. What was it like to wake each morning, to hold on tightly with generations forming? Another mother, another child, another path, walked mile after mile. I don't have all the answers, perhaps I never will, but compassion grows much deeper when the world grows still. So I'll leave another place at history's table wide, for every woman's story who climbed that steep mountainside. The fiddle slowly whispers, the banjo fades away, the harmonica still crying what words dared never, ever